Very informal today. No sort of massive agenda. I think really an opportunity for you to ask any questions that you want in terms of queries about this programme, because there have been limited opportunities really for you to find out more given the current restrictions. I will talk you through a couple of slides that I've shared with the mentors in terms of the positioning of this and a couple of potential opportunities for you. We'll talk about your role and also a little bit about how to prepare effectively for your first session. Getting that right, I think, will set the tone for the rest of your mentoring relationships. So we'll invest a little bit of time in that as well. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Fantastic. I know it's a funny thing, not the most engaging way to sort of meet you all, but we'll work with what we've got.
Good to see you as well.
How many weeks is it then?
20 weeks now today, yeah.
Right. Halfway home.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, she's getting bigger now, like.
You've got a small potato in your hands now.
A guinea pig, I'm told. The size of a guinea pig.
Excellent. Hiya, Jack.
Hiya, you all right?
Yeah, good. Nice selection of guitars there in the background.
Yeah, I thought I've tilted it slightly because it's more clothes horse in the other direction.
Yeah, very good. You still looks like you've got a dice and a clothes horse and two guitars from what I can see.
That's it, and a table that we've moved out the way so the little and dumb bag of red on it.
More people joining out. Are you at home as well, or are you in the office?
Office.
In the office. Oh dear, you've drawn the short straw then.
Something like that.
And we got Carl with a new haircut by the looks of it. Very smart, that.
Yeah.
He's got dressed for the occasion. I didn't think you got dressed when you was at home, Carl.
Only top half, Jack. Only top half. What newsreader.
What a grim thought that is, I have to say. Alexa as well. Good morning, Alexa.
Hi, morning.
Nice to see you.
You too.
Any questions though so far from any of you in terms of mentee role or what this is all about? Oh, this is going to be a long morning, isn't it? With you lot. So, those things back at base in terms of the amount of personnel and how you're all managing to interact together.
I was ill on Monday, so
I've
been working from home until I get my coronavirus test.
Oh gosh, blooming heck, Tim.
Yeah. Well, I've had the test, but I'm just waiting on the results. I'm sure it's not.
Really quiet. I think that's the sort of feeling I'm getting when you walk in the engineering department. It's a lot quieter than we're used to. I think, isn't it, Jack? When you get up there,
Definitely.
In some places, it's business as usual.
Just to sort of reiterate, well done to everyone on being the first nominees for this scheme, because what I will do following the end of this session is I will share with you all of the resources, all of the video clips and films that have been shared with the mentors in terms of their preparation. So there'll be a real equity of knowledge and understanding, and there'll be free access to lots of other resources and support for you following our time together today. What I'd like you to do is just introduce yourself, and I obviously recognise that I know some of you very well, but also if you could share what is the biggest misconception that people have about you. Okay, where does sometimes people get it wrong about you as a person, do you feel?
I'll go if you like. I'll start off. Someone's got to be first.
Fantastic. Let's go.
Give everyone else a chance, a bit more thinking time. Obviously, Carl Atkinson, been at Singleton Birch. It's just starting my 29th year on Monday. Most misconception about me. Maybe the only thing that springs to mind, I think, that maybe sometimes that I haven't got a big of an opinion sometimes than I maybe have. Probably something I'm conscious of and trying to change. But I think it's something that you maybe brought up as well, Chris, that sometimes being quiet doesn't show a good opinion, whether you've not got an opinion or you have got an opinion, but I often have more of an opinion than I let on.
Absolutely. No, that's great. Perfect. Thanks, Carl. Who's next?
Brow, currently assets manager. So yeah, heavily involved with a lot in operations alongside Carl. I would say over the years I've done a lot of developing of new ways of working within operations, and misconception would maybe be that whether I get involved where I shouldn't be, or maybe it's me not, in the past at least, getting as much buy-in as I should and rushing into things. But yeah, it's really for the benefit of everyone and trying to improve and develop systems or people, whatever it may be.
That's great. Thanks, Jack. Welcome aboard.
I'm Freddie Wright, technical engineer with Birch Solutions. I think a misconception that I feel I often have is that with an engineering background, I actually know how to fix things, and often and know what they are already. And often the case is I'm making it up as I go along. I think Carl would vouch for that.
We all do that, Freddie.
I see David's joined us as well. Welcome aboard, David.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for joining us. I've posed a bit of a tricky conundrum, and just in terms of introducing yourself to particularly myself, but everyone else, what you have to share is what you believe is the biggest misconception that people have about you.
Well, obviously, my name is David. I've been with Singleton Birch for about a year and a half. Started out as a process improvement engineer, but now sort of transitioned into product development / technical process engineer. And I'd say one of the biggest misconceptions would be that I understand the banter on site.
Excellent. Yeah, and I bet it's some of it's quite rich banter, no doubt.
Absolutely, yeah.
Welcome aboard, David. Thank you for that.
I'll go next.
Great. Thanks, Gabby.
Well, it's Gabby Deans, and I'm in logistics department. I've been with Singleton Birch for 3 years now, just over. So I'm still struggling to think about the misconception part. I'm not sure I've been here long enough myself that I kind of have opinion and see how maybe other people see me.
Do people ever get it wrong about you, Gabby?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what I can't sort of point out what that might be.
No problem. Well, that's all right. Hopefully during this process, you might find it easier to respond to that.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Alexa, on my screen, you're positioned neatly next to Gabby.
Yeah, okay.
How about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Alexa Embleton. I'm the finance manager here, and I've been here about 2.5 years. And the biggest misconception I can think is kind of surrounding the role more, but it's more that people just think accounts are numbers, and they don't really appreciate that accounts obviously is integrated in so many other ways to a business.
Well, are you saying you're not just a number cruncher?
Well,
sorry, I couldn't resist it. Welcome aboard. There's only Tim left.
Yeah, that's I'll go last, saving the best. I'm Tim Presswood. I've been with Singleton Birch for just under 2 years now. I've had several different roles in the company. However, I'm currently working as operations manager of Birch Chemicals. I'd say the biggest misconception, specifically in the company, is that I'm like some IT wizard, and people just think that I can fix it, when the truth is I'm just very good at Googling. I think really my speciality is more looking at systems, etc., and trying to find the root cause of issues and solving it that way, rather than just knowing everything about IT.
Yeah, thank you for that. I like the idea of this IT wizard. It's sort of Harry Potter-esque.
Wizard.
Goes with the glasses as well.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome aboard, and thank you everyone for that. And just this notion of it's a really tricky question, that, about the biggest misconception that people have about you. It's a dynamite interview question though, but one of the reasons people find it hard is that you have to sort of suddenly reflect on your own strengths and how others sometimes perceive you. And one of the quickest ways actually to build trust, both for the mentor to build trust with you and for you to build trust with the mentor, and that's the rock, that's the absolutely essential thing of the mentoring relationship, is to disclose more. And so for that to happen, for you to disclose things, you've got to firmly believe in that other person. You've got to believe in the confidentiality of that relationship, and you've got to know that whatever you do share actually just stays within the confines of that room or that meeting. So there's a lot of trust to be built up and a lot of rapport to be worked on initially, and some of the responsibility for that will rest with yourself as well as with the mentor. So what is this thing called mentoring then? What you think mentoring's about? What would you say?
Is it someone focusing more long term and not on specific sort of goals? It's more just guiding people on anything they're working on at the time rather than task based.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a really key. Is that Jack? I think that's a really key thing, that one of the differentiators between coaching and mentoring. Some of the principles, it should be, as mentioned, someone that's independent, so outside the normal chain of command. Otherwise, it does tend to be more of a delegating type relationship, and you just cannot develop the levels of trust and rapport that are necessary otherwise, because that same person, if it's your line manager, might be, forgive the vernacular, but giving you a bollocking the next week, and so everything falls apart. Like to be more holistical and in nature, so look at all sorts of areas of your career, your long-term aspirations and your professional growth. And it's this notion of a non-judgmental approach. And I think you should be flattered by this as well, because this is, I think, very much one of the drivers for this pilot scheme. It can be used best for supporting high potential employees, people new to either management leadership roles, or maybe we're hoping to fast track individuals throughout the organization and help them become mentors for other mentees. Now, especially in the early stage of the relationship, one challenge is, how do you stop this from happening?
I really want to be a bit more structured when you go to these meetings, because I would have said, I'm just thinking off the top of my head about when the slide come up. Probably when you have these meetings, probably have a little bit of a few notes even to go across with to keep you on track, rather than just doing it off the top of your head and just letting it descend into whatever it could descend into. I think if you're looking for support from your mentor, then have some things you want to be mentored in when you go across to see them.
Absolutely, yeah, and there is a sort of a requirement really to be a little bit planful about this, and that doesn't sort of make the meeting any more sterile. But you've got to have a purpose to getting together, and that doesn't need to be too definitive, because your mentor's going to help you shape some of the things around there and help you define it a little bit more clearly. But there should be an overall purpose. Some expectations for yourself then. Increasingly through the mentoring relationship, you would take on more and more responsibility for things like scheduling the meeting and also setting an informal agenda for what needs to be covered. Hopefully you can have a genuine interest in being helped by your mentor, active listening, and also be frank and be honest. If say, for example, the relationship in your mind isn't working, actually that's absolutely appropriate to bring up. What can we do to get it back on track? Be willing to explore failures and successes. I mean, you have to be a bit humble. It's quite an engaging thing to be vulnerable. There's nothing wrong whatsoever in saying, actually, this is something I really do struggle with, because that's how you'll make some progress. Obviously, we need to be respectful of both your time and your work commitments. But what I would say and what I would suggest is that ring fence and prioritize this 1 hour every month. So easy for other things. The perception is that, you know, the critical incident this morning has to take priority, and there will be times when that does apply. But wherever you can, try to avoid moving that meeting where it's seen as a nice to have rather than a critical. And this should be business critical for you. Another thing is to maintain privacy and confidentiality of the development conversations. Nothing will undermine the trust in the relationship more quickly than if you share something that should be treated confidentially. And back to Carl's point about one thing is going to be an expectation for you is to identify some kind of professional development goal, priority, or professional growth intention that you have for yourself. Otherwise, how on earth can you achieve it? This is something that you will need to have answered in your mind before your first meeting. And when I say have answers, not definitively and, you know, in great detail, but a broad intention. What is it that you want to be different by the end of this mentoring relationship? It's where the mentoring relationship all begins. And I will be sharing the same question with the mentors and saying, one of the things your mentee will be bringing with them, in addition to their charming personality, to that first meeting is an answer to this question. There are further bits of support as well. I don't know if it's been shared with you, but Chris Mayer is going to be an on-site mentoring coordinator and also a very personable chap and really committed to developing and growing people. I'll send over the FAQs, a copy of the mentoring agreement for you to have a look at, and the optional planning sheet. So there's the dedicated YouTube channel, and there will be additional support as well, both through Endor and through some other training initiatives once the relationships get going. Any questions though from any of you at the moment?
So what happens next?
Good question. The mentors have got a skills development session next Friday. And following that, they will be encouraged to make contact with you. So I'd imagine a week on Monday or week commencing that week, your mentor should be making an approach and saying, when's a good time to get together? Excellent. Well, many thanks for taking part today. I hope it's, if not provided all the answers, it's in you a better understanding about the drivers and the intentions for the program. What I would say is don't panic about that first meeting. I've stressed to the mentors that, you know, the real objective for your very first meeting should be about building rapport, nothing else. It would be great for you to have this long-term intention, so for you to reflect on what it is that you want to get from the mentoring partnership. But other than that, just go with hopefully an appetite for a hot drink and finding out a little bit more about the background of whoever it is that's your mentor, and they will be doing the same with you, and developing, you know, some sort of mutual way of working that's going to work for you both. Wish you a good weekend once we get there. Great, you're welcome. Nice virtually seeing you. Take care.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Right, cheers, Chris.
Bye.